Welcome back to another episode of the Christian Business Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Avant, and today we're back on that topic of video, and we're going to be talking about the types of video to incorporate in your business in 2026. So, this could be a long episode, but going to try to make it short and create a synopsis, if you will, and give you some ideas because next week we'll be going more into depth, of course, about the key elements of a successful video. But there are different types of videos, obviously, and you might choose to do one type over another, but I want to encourage you to remember my all time favorite thing, which is content repurposing. And so I want you to remember that as you think about, okay, do I want to do long form video or short form video? Because if you do the long form, if you do the long form, then you are able to repurpose that into short form. And that has always been my game plan, if you will, is to repurpose content as much as I can. So let's start with long form video. So, two types or main places that you will see long form video is, for example, and ways that you can utilize it is, for example, Facebook Lives and YouTube videos. So, I, for example, will be using these video pieces of my podcast to put over on my YouTube channel. And then I will use these as the long form, excuse me, as the long form video. And then I will repurpose them into some shorter form video as well, because there is a place in your marketing for both long form and for short form videos. So, what are some examples of ways that you can create long form videos? So, the very first one, since I'm using this as an example, is through podcasts. Now, you may be thinking, but I don't have a podcast, and that's okay. If you yourself are not a podcaster, I have the answer for you. So, be excited. Find other podcasts that you can be a guest on, but specifically look for those that have a video element. So, right now, most of the video that I have created that's long form is in the form of either I did like a webinar or I did a training or on Facebook Live in like my private group and I uploaded it to YouTube. You can also do that. That's another way to content repurpose. Or I was on someone else's podcast, but then I can use that as a way to market myself. And think about that. But you can do Facebook Lives, and I will used to would say you could use it as it is from Facebook, but Facebook now takes your Facebook Lives down because they don't want to have to store them forever for you. So I would recommend, if you do a Facebook Live, to download it and to upload it to your YouTube channel as soon as you can, because they do take them down in 30 days. So that is something to know. But even if they were to keep them, it is a way that you can own it by downloading it and uploading it. And you could also edit it and make it better. You could upload it to your YouTube channel to repurpose, that sort of thing. The first way then is interviews or podcasts. So either you create your own or you're on someone else's podcast. A second way to use video in long form content is to record some behind the scenes. So, whether that be something as simple as your everyday routine of, say, you're an author and you just record, and a lot of people like to know, what is it that an author does on a daily basis? What does it look like on days where you are writing? What does it look like on days where you're doing other things? Do behind the scenes. If you have a big event that you're going to, maybe you're going to a book signing, do behind the scenes of that. If you're going to a big event, such as a conference, do a behind the scene video of that. I saw the other day an author friend of mine was going to be on a television show. and being interviewed, and she did some behind the scenes videos. So that is a type of behind the scenes is a type of video you can use. You can also do Q&A sessions, and these would be great on Facebook Live because you can interact with people and they ask you questions and then you answer them. You can do this live and hope that you have enough questions and answers. But I like to, if I do something like this, kind of plan ahead and make sure I'm going to have enough questions. So maybe get people to submit questions and you could have someone that's a moderator for you. Or you can make sure that you know there's going to be people live to ask you the questions. So sometimes you have to do a little behind the scenes legwork on that before you get to that particular idea or to do that. And then also if you have a book, if you're a nonfiction author and you have a book that is something that you can share and expand upon, so maybe you could talk about a key element of the book, or you could have a live and do that, or you could, if you're a Bible study, maybe you write Bible studies, you could have a book club style video where you host people and you do discussions of the Bible study. You could even do this with other people's studies if you wanted to. You just have to credit the author, but that's a great thing to do as well. And you can create your own classes or training. I do a lot of classes and training videos, and that way I have long form video in that form. So those are some of the long form, usually found on Facebook Lives or using Facebook Lives or YouTube. And then you can do, like I said, interviews or podcasts, behind the scenes, Q&As, and then how-to or webinar style trainings. Okay, now let's talk about short form. And as I said, my favorite thing is using long form of videos, or even when I'm doing content repurposing, long form of text and then turning it into short form. So short form in this case are Reels, YouTube Shorts, or TikToks, for example. Now, just because I said all three of those doesn't mean that you have to do all three of those. Just like with the Facebook Lives and the YouTube Shorts, just because I said those things doesn't mean you have to do both. So you choose what you want to focus on. So Reels are found on Facebook and Instagram because they go together. And then YouTube Shorts obviously is YouTube, and then TikToks obviously are on TikTok. So you can decide the different places that you use these videos, these shorter form videos. But what I would suggest, and what has worked well for me and I've done for clients as well, is to take your longer form video and to break it into shorter form video snippets, if you will, that you can then use on these other elements to promote not only that long form video for them to want to go watch the whole thing, but also you can use those, you can create your own, besides making those snippets, you can create your own short form videos in other ways as well. So not just pulling snippets from the long form, but also creating standalone short form videos. And again, I was going to give you some examples or ideas for this. So the first idea is to take that longer form and cut it into bite-sized pieces. Most Reels or YouTube Shorts, things like that, are a minute or less, so 60 seconds or less. So you can get a lot out of a long form video, even if it's a shorter one. Like for me, these podcast episodes are usually 10 minutes or less, but I can still get a good bit of content from that. And then I can create my own standalone short form videos, and I can use things or create things like quick tips. I can do quick tips or motivational minute. You can come up with your own little ideas. You can do behind the scenes glimpses. So instead of a whole long video of what's going on behind the scenes, I can just show you what's happening in that short little window of time. You can get people who have read your work or listened to you speak to do testimonials and have a short little testimonial of that. You can use one questions from a Q&A session and have that. And then the last thing, and people who don't want to be in front of the camera like this, that is, you can create videos using another not platform, but program such as like Canva. You can create videos where it is a video element. So like a stock photo, you would use a stock video and put some text on it, add some background music, and use that as a video. So like a little reel. I've seen these for Bible verses. I've seen use these for the testimonials, the how-to tips, the quick tips, the things like that. Those are nice and can be effective, like we shared in last week's episode of why use video, the element that is most helpful is for them to see your face and hear your voice. So it is more effective to have your face in your videos than it would be something like that, like a stock video. So I would recommend, if I were going to do video, to do it with using your face, your voice, and everything, because of the effectiveness of that instead. All right. So next week we'll get more into some of the key elements that you'll want to make sure that you use to have a successful video. And so I hope you'll be back with us then. And thank you so much for listening.